Good evening, everyone! You can't see any cameras because there are some technical difficulties which will be resolved shortly. But we are here, and we are ready to play some Dungeons & Dragons in just a moment. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll have people introduce their voices for you, and then as soon as cameras are back working... Oh, there we go. Here we are.
Cameras should be working now, Sir Llama. Greetings, everybody. Lolash here. How are you all?
Hi, everyone.
I'm excited to be here.
It's Eversore, and I just noticed that Roll20 will now let me pop out my character sheet, which is the greatest thing that has ever happened.
Yeah, it is.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You can do that now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Totally will pop out in its own window. Best update ever.
So good.
That's awesome.
So we're back. We're back. 2 weeks later. We've got a few things to deal with today. A disappearing warlock being the primary one. Does somebody want to run us through a recap before we get into the actual session?
I'll recap what I can think of. We're going to start way back at the very beginning and do it in a very short summary style. We washed up on a beach after having been on the same ship that was caught in a storm and shipwrecked. The 5 of our characters found themselves in the same inn after washing up on the beach, noticed that we were all adventuring types and somehow congregated together. And Brig had some dreams or visions or clues or something about a cave that we decided was the best thing to investigate because the storm seemed unnatural and we wanted to get to the bottom of that. We wandered to the cave, which was full of lizardy people. Those lizardy people were handily dispatched by the party. As I recall, the cave didn't answer many of our questions about the storm, and only created new questions about this weird lizardy cult of a god that our Dragonborn really hates. And let's see, what else happened in that cave?
And there was an incident with some slugs.
We acquired some magical cleansing water and some magical uncleansing goo. We acquired some books in a script we cannot read, and a few other various items, one of which was a small lockbox. When we got back to the inn after leaving the little cave holy shrine area, we opened that lockbox. Inside it was a ring, which Tabarin immediately picked up, stuck on his finger, and disappeared. And I think we left it right there. We're all sitting in the inn, looking at the empty space where our friend used to be.
Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, so yeah, that's where we're up to at the moment. You had the evil replicating gross sluggy thingies that you had to deal with. It seems that they dealt with themselves. They were obviously trapped in that cave for some reason. You came back to town, you all sort of did your relaxing thing, you sat down, and after much fuss and bother and arguments and basically trying to determine whether or not you should open the box, where you should open the box, how you should open the box, what you should do with what is in the box, Tabarin slips the ring onto his finger after saying the words, "This is what we were looking for," and fades out of existence. Slowly, he sort of slowly fades away. Like he's just disappearing very slowly. Not like he's teleporting or anything like that, just disappears. What are you guys going to do?
That's a great question. I think I'm going to act bewildered for a moment.
I am going to
Does that always happen when you put on a ring?
Nay. Most rings are quite mundane chunks of metal.
I don't like that.
Where do you... Oh.
Typical human. Typical human. Why did I think I could trust them? The dwarves are right.
Oh, as I recall, it was actually Lord Silverstar that was sitting at the table, not Brig.
Yep.
Well, that was certainly unexpected. Perhaps I can deduce something of what happened. I'm gonna...
I can tell you what happened. We've been used. The man used us to get something he knew about and wanted, and he's gone.
Oh, well, that seems like you're jumping to conclusions, don't you think?
Have you seen the way he treats other people? Have you watched the man at all?
Can I get a perception check from everybody, please? With the exception of Flick, of course.
Frankly, I barely know the man.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so perceptive right now.
You are very perceptive. Rogar and Din. There's a pool of mud on the floor. And something seems to be growing out of it.
Oh no.
Right where Tabram was standing.
Is it those sluggy things? Did we bring them with us?
That seems out of
back?
place.
You guys all notice that the pile of mud on the floor blinks, and where you see it blink, you could almost swear that the eyes were almost hollow, and fear deep within them. As he kind of shakes off, you see what you presume is a grin underneath the soil, as he just the figure inside grabs handfuls of this mud and soil and just sniffs it. Takes just a big sniff. Sits up,
Harbeck?
gives a little shake.
I have no idea. I have
Dwarf?
absolutely no idea what's happening right now.
Can a ring turn you into mud?
It certainly could.
Magic can do many things.
He,
That might be one of them.
Tabarin stands
like
up,
I
and
feel like...
you realize that it's just Tabarin covered in mud. So he kind of shakes some of it off, hands clenched with fistfuls of mud, just grinning ear to ear, almost childlike.
Welcome back, perhaps?
What have you been
I'm
like?
drawing my sword.
This soil is from my home. I haven't seen my home since I was 12.
You might have told us where you
Are
were
you
going.
dead?
I didn't know where I was going. But this certainly
Are
warms.
you dead?
No, I'm not dead. This warms my soul.
Okay, good, then I don't have to kill you.
What?
To be fair, that is exactly what someone that was dead that didn't want you to know they were dead would say.
Did.
Oh, dear.
I don't know
It's
what you
typically
just said.
polite when a person is talking to let them finish.
Well, most of the things that crawl out of the ground were dead, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't have to kill it.
That's fair. And we appreciate you not killing him in the inn. But you were saying, Tabarin.
You're welcome. Go on.
I just I'm not really sure what happened. I heard a voice that told me to put the ring on, and now I'm here covered in the soil from my homeland.
Hearing voices, my boy, is a sure sign of insanity.
Maybe we can catch up sometime.
Brilliant.
Okay. With that, you hear some fanfare, some horns and unusual music playing outside, almost like circus tunes. There's and patrons from the inn are hastily leaving and heading out into the courtyard to see what all the fuss is about.
Does the room we're in have a window?
Not on the front, no.
Oh. Okay.
I feel like we should stay and figure out what's going on with the mud monster, but maybe this is more of a pressing issue outside.
Yeah, either that flash firestorm or we leveled up. Did the fanfares say do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do?
No, I didn't. I do have that soundbite saved in my jukebox, though. just saying.
Yes, I am very curious about what's going on here. However, I don't feel like I yet have enough information to ask the questions that I need to. So in the interim, why don't we go see what's happening outside?
Lead the way.
Oh, with pleasure.
Tavern
Okay.
takes the handfuls of mud and packs them into a vial, and then you see him start to cast some spells and become cleaner and cleaner as we're walking towards the exit.
Typical. I'll be right back.
Great.
Sometimes I like dirt too.
Indeed. It can be fun stuff. Tabarin, did you...
Yeah.
Do you always listen to the voices in your head? Was that a standard procedure?
That was the first time in, since I was 12. The last time I had a voice in my head, it was the, my Fey ancestor from long ago.
You recognize the voice then? That's entirely different. But still a little bit troubling.
I fear that recognizing the voice may be worse.
I'm not sure you know what you're talking about.
I have studied mental illness extensively, boy. Trust me.
Alright, so... Again. Tavern seems to be a little bit quiet at the moment. You head outside and you can see a man dressed in very colourful clothing. And he's juggling what appears to be... Like, at first glance, they look like just normal, everyday juggling balls. But when you look closer, they're actually clear and filled with, coloured fluids that swirl and it's quite the show. He's a very accomplished juggler, and he's drawing quite a crowd from all of the people around the bazaar and from the inn. And he's performing in the street.
As we step out into the light and the crowd and things, Silverstar's step gets a little less bold, and he starts to shrink back and slips back behind the dwarf, and his posture changes. And
Lad,
he looks...
have I told you that I like you?
Well, not recently.
I do. I like you quite a bit. A bit more than other people.
Well, thank you. I like you too.
Great.
It's a standard dwarf meets gnome love story. Okay, so he's parading around, he's jumping around and throwing these balls in the air and catching them, and he's like I said, quite an accomplished performer. And then he sees the short, bald, squat dwarf, and he yells, "Hey, dwarf, catch!" And he throws one of the spheres straight at your face.
I catch it.
You can try.
Okay.
Snatch arrows.
Yeah,
applies?
I'm gonna go ahead and roll my deflect missiles check. Would it have done at least 12 damage, or less than 12 damage to my face?
It would have done less than 12 damage to your face.
I catch it.
Okay. When you catch the ball, it shatters in your hand. It doesn't do any damage. It's like it breaks apart almost as if by magic. And the colored liquid inside swirls out and creates this brightly colored explosion of kind of like a firework, but without the fire. It's a really pretty sort of burst of color and sound. And with that, the crowd cheers and erupts into laughter and goes back to watching the juggler. And roll me a perception check, please, Llama. Actually, everybody can roll the perception check, because you're all paying attention.
15.
A natural 20 becomes a 19. I do love that.
Some of us were paying attention.
I'm very perceptive.
Quite good.
Very, very perceptive. Well, with a natural 20, you succeed. So, the juggler winked at Harbeck, almost like there was some kind of inside joke, or...
Do you know him?
Yeah.
Do I know him?
That was
no.
Greg in character. Oh, you were checking. I got
Yeah,
it.
I was asking not in character, so that I
No,
could
you
respond appropriately.
You don't recognize him at all.
Okay, how long does the effect last?
Only a few seconds.
Is a few seconds enough for me to use my monk elemental attunement to... I can do some, like, cantripy stuff with elemental effects and do an instantaneous sensory effect, almost like a prestidigitation sort of thing. It has to be elemental related, is the restriction.
Yep.
But can I add a little flourish and a burst of flame that he wasn't expecting and try and catch him off guard?
You can, yes.
Okay.
By all means.
I will add a flourish. So the hand that caught the thing is the center of his effect, and I'll just do the closest approximation I can with fire from my other hand of his effect.
Nice. Okay. All right. The show goes on for a little longer, not too much longer, and you're absolutely enthralled by his performance. He's brilliant. He's absolutely fantastic. And a short while later, he stops the performance with a grand finale of color and light, and he throws all of the globes up into the air, and as they come raining down around him, as he poses into a bow, they burst into flashes and colors, and the crowd is absolutely loving it. And he takes off his hat, throws it onto the ground, and all of the commoners and nobles around him that have been watching the show so far start throwing coins into his hat, and he starts thanking the crowd profusely.
I'll walk up and toss... I assume that the crowd here would be throwing copper.
Yeah.
So I'll walk up and flip a silver in and introduce myself.
He glances around as if looking for something, and then whispers, "Not now, Harbeck. Soon." And goes back to jeering with the crowd and talking and basically being an actor.
I cooperate and am silent and don't blow his cover. More because I'm completely confused and can't react quickly than because I know what's going on and choose to cooperate.
Anybody else doing anything in particular?
Tabarin thought his performance was particularly interesting. I'm going to try and persuade the crowd around him to pay him more for his service.
Okay, roll a persuasion check for me.
Oh,
27.
And that was not a natural 20. He is quite persuasive.
He's very persuasive. So he starts throwing, you start shouting at the crowd, come on, his performance was worth more than that, this man is a master, look at him, yada, yada, yada. And the crowd, re-inspired, start paying him more and throwing trinkets and rings and all sorts of stuff into his hat. And he doesn't seem fazed by the act. He doesn't seem like he's thankful or anything. He just continues on with what he's doing.
I help to collect the items to provide him.
Of course you do.
a small
Of
finder's
course.
fee may be extracted.
What percentage of the take are you currently pocketing, Cameron?
We haven't discussed it yet.
Oh, right. Because you are totally a legitimate businessman. All right. After a short while, the juggler, the entertainer, he says, right, to the inn. Let's have some drinks. And he walks into the inn, places his hat down on the top of the bar, and says, drinks for all of my friends, and walks away from the hat.
I quickly dash to the bar and announce my undying friendship, because free drinks.
I quickly dash to the bar in order to stay somewhat hidden behind the dwarf.
I make sure to get a small drink for Brig as well.
Hey, he might be a small person, but he has a big thirst. Is it a true story?
Can you unhide Tabarin?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I had been meaning to do that, but I was busy.
No worries.
Let's move you to tokens. There you go. And you should be able to move around now.
Did he keep any of that?
Doesn't appear so.
No, he, as far as you could see, he didn't take any of the money.
Doesn't that strike you as odd?
I've seen stranger things.
Maybe he doesn't need money.
And maybe he doesn't need money. And I'm glad Tabarin got the crowd to contribute a bit more.
I don't know much about street performers, but it seems odd to me that he'd do all that to not make a penny.
Do I know the barkeep's name here?
Yes, you do, although I'm not sure what it is, because...
I loudly call for him and inform him that while my left hand has a mug, my right hand is woefully empty.
Right then. Can I get a perception check from everybody, please? Okay, what have we got? We've got 20, 19, 10, 11. Din, you really aren't paying much attention, are you? That's 2 natural ones in a row.
No,
I
not at
believe.
all. Yep. I'm easily distracted by shiny things.
Tabarin and Harbeck, both of you guys are paying the most attention to this juggler, this entertainer. He sort of right up both of your alleys by the looks of things. You notice as he slips through the crowd, his features change and his clothing changes, and he goes and takes a seat quietly at the table that you were sitting at earlier.
Do I recognize him now?
No, you don't recognize him now.
Darn it! I grab another couple of drinks for my friends. So the idea is 2 mugs by the handle in one hand, right? And you have your black in one and your tan in the other. And as you pour, you get both from the bottom mug. And we go sit down.
Okay.
It's something that dwarves are all well practiced at. You kind of tier the mugs so you
Yeah,
get the
and you
proper
get-
mixture and stuff.
You have to get the right ratio.
Oh, and it's all interesting. Yeah. Okay. So, you're heading over and sitting down near him. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, we'll go
Yeah.
resume our usual table.
That's a nifty trick you've got there.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Dwarfs practice it from a young age. Oh, you meant,
Oh.
did you make... Sorry.
You as well. You as well, Harbeck.
I thought you meant the thing with the mugs.
Would you guys please excuse me? I have something I need to speak about with your friend, and he indicates towards Harbeck.
Sure thing.
Binks and I aren't really comfortable in
I'm
crowds.
already not paying attention, so I just continue to not pay attention.
I'm going to head upstairs.
Den, would you go down to the brewery and check on the mash?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll head upstairs with Breg. And what's Rogar doing?
Just chilling in the main room.
Sitting in a corner.
Getting Dragonborn hammered on free booze.
Toasting to Bahamut every time he drinks. All right, so as everybody sort of clears out and you're left alone with this fellow who now is completely unassuming and looks nothing like the entertainer that was outside, and everybody's calling for him and asking where he's gone, and he's just sitting in the corner, smiling quietly to himself. He turns to you and he says, so, Harbeck, the monastery was sad to see you go. I've heard you've taken up other pursuits. An adventuring lifestyle?
How long has it been?
Not long. A couple of weeks.
Okay. Sorry I haven't sent word, but when one's ship finds itself to the bottom of the ocean, and one is as unaccustomed to floating as myself, you spend a bit of time recovering your senses.
Not to worry. Harbeck, I'm not from the monastery.
How do you know me?
Well, it seems you have a certain interest in how the world works. And I represent a guild of people who pursue the same interests.
I might need you to be a bit more specific.
Oh, I can't be more specific, Harbeck. That's not how this works.
Okay.
Listen, here's an address, and he gives you an address for the city that you're in.
Okay.
A building on the other side of town. He says, come here, knock 3 times, and when the slot in the door opens, hand them this. And he passes you a small silvered globe, similar to the ones that he was juggling earlier. If you're interested in having a look at our offer, then come and see us tomorrow. Take some time to think about it. It's a big decision. And with that, he gets up and starts to move towards the exit.
I don't have enough to think about.
He turns around and he winks at you again, and then disappears into the crowd of people.
I look at the silver globe and stash it safely in a pocket in my backpack and sit and finish my drink. Singular. It's one drink. It's one.
No, it's not. It's 2 drinks.
It's one drink. It happens to be presented in separate containers. I finished my drink.
Okay. All right. What is everybody else up to at the moment?
I just wandered back into the room. I don't remember what I was looking for with the mash.
Oh, certainly. I take her down to the brewery and remind her the various things that I'd been teaching her about the basics of beer. And we go through and we check on all of the different steps in the process and do the thing.
While you're doing so, and checking all of the different steps in the process, you notice that your brewmastery tools, the tools that you've left down here, the tools that you use for your craft, somebody's moved them.
Oh,
They're not exactly how you left them. And upon closer inspection, you find a small potion, like a small brew. It's a flask filled with an ale. And there's a small note attached to it.
Oh.
So it's from the entertainer.
Oh. Oh, a clue. Well, I will give it the full treatment. I'll check the scent. I'll check the flavor. Let it aerate on the tongue. Get the aftertaste. Do the whole evaluation like I would do for any of my craft beers. Is it good?
It's delicious. It's amazing, and you feel more spiritually connected, more in tune with the natural world around you.
Okay, so as an artificer, I've been investigating the alternate effects of beverages. Am I sensing that maybe this guy is? I'm connecting. I'm hoping that what he was talking to me about the table about having similar pursuits means that he is also looking into brewing as a source of power and magic, maybe science, but I'm hoping that he's an artificer and that it's an artificer's guild, and I'm getting very excited that this brew seems to have an effect beyond drunkenness.
Din, you see Harbeck almost like jump up and down on the spot with excitement. He's like a small child in a candy store.
Taste it.
Okay. It tastes like beer.
I'm too excited to notice that she tasted it wrong. Isn't it the best?
It just tastes like beer.
Yeah.
No, Din. I thought I was the only one.
The
monks at my monastery, they care about flavor, they care about alcohol content, but they don't care. This has. Do you feel what this has?
beer.
Yes, it does have beer.
Yeah.
Can I have that back? I've got a better one in this water skin. You should have this one. I give her my personal flask, so as to not waste.
The other beer that you've just acquired. Okay. So you now have what is effectively one dose of that particular brew in a flat, like in a water skin, in an ale skin, I suppose, seeing as it holds ale, not water. What is the rest of the group up to in this particular circumstance?
I have just retreated to our rooms and I'm having a heart-to-heart with my pet ferret.
Okay.
I'm standing outside his door trying to convince him that he should come back downstairs.
We like to do a little debrief after our adventures, and I haven't had a chance to chat with Binks before we caught up and stuff.
It's really important that Binks is debriefed. He's only a ferret, after all.
Right. He doesn't fully grasp everything that's going on. Just gotta help him out.
Okay. So it is nearing the end of the day. You guys are probably getting ready to rest. Is there anything else you guys wanted to do tonight, or during the evening that I should be aware of?
I can't wait for tomorrow. Like, I'm suddenly very excited about this man's offer. Instead of, like, I've forgotten all of my dwarven reticence. I've forgotten all of my mistrust. And I'm giddy. And to distract myself, I spend the entire evening down in the brewery working on all of the theories and plans and thoughts so that I have a belt full of flasks to share. If these people are who I hope they are, I want to show them 3 or 4 different things I've been working on, and like I get all that stuff ready so that I can pass the time until tomorrow. I really want to run there right now.
After, I don't know, an hour and a half or so chatting with my ferret, I quietly make my way downstairs to find Harbeck and ask him if he figured out who that guy was.
You find him in a fevered sort of brewing, like, trance. He's running around just madly brewing things. Speaking of which, I will need a brewing tools check from you.
Oh, great.
Please.
Shall I roll it with wisdom?
Yes.
Great. That's how I set it up, I think.
Are you alright, Harbeck?
I'm great. I've never been better. This is wonderful.
Does this frenzy have something to do with that stranger?
He made this. Taste this.
I taste it.
Okay, it's beer. It's good beer, but it's just beer.
Well, that's delightful. You think that he brewed this?
He did.
Why do you think that a juggler can brew beer?
I found it with my supplies with a note from the entertainer. And he asked me to meet him and his friends who have similar interests to mine. And there's no one with similar interests to mine. They don't exist. And they're in this town.
How does he know about your interests?
Don't make me suspicious. This is the best thing that's happened to me. Ever.
Alright, I'll have all the suspicion for both of us then.
Thank you, Jiminy. I mean... Brig, sorry, I don't... my brain, when I get excited...
Do you mind if I sit over here and watch?
Oh, that would be fine. Certainly. Right. You could taste things for me and tell me what you feel.
All right. So I'll pull up a little stool in the corner and spend the night
tasting. He's my guinea pig.
Yeah, mostly just watching. And every time you approach me with something, I'm really hesitant. But I always drink, I always taste it for you and give you the same kind of non-committal, yeah, it's more beer.
And I keep asking totally weird questions. But do you feel your hair?
And my answers continue to be non-committal.
And that is exactly the case, except, what did we roll? We rolled a 14. Except once. You do feel something a little bit different. You feel more alive, more electric, like you see things more clearly, you feel more nimble and agile, you feel like you could dodge a bullet, because you do know what bullets are. They're fired from arquebusiers and other firearms that are starting to make their rounds. You're aware of what they are, but you just feel electric.
Well, that actually was odd.
Did you feel your hair?
Well, no.
Your fingertips.
Have you tasted this?
Look at your hand. No, give it to me. Does this one work? I pound it myself.
Okay. You feel alive, electric, even more so than you were.
This is the one. I hastily circled the page of notes where I was keeping this recipe and mark it up with annotations about the taste and the effect.
Okay. Fantastic. So the night passes, you get literally no sleep. Brig, are you going to sneak off at some stage, or are you going to stay up all night with Harbeck?
am concerned about Harbeck. I have some experience with mental breaks, and I'm afraid that he may be experiencing one. So I'm going to stay there, but I probably do like doze in the stool until he comes like, so I'm like dozing on and off through the night until every half an hour or whatever he comes and wakes me up and tells me to drink something.
Okay, no worries. He doesn't bug you too much, especially after you've discovered that particular thing. Yeah. Anyway, so the night passes. Yeah, sorry?
I was just going to say, after being upstairs for a half hour or so, I've fashioned a vial of dirt onto a necklace. And I find my way downstairs over to the bar and sit down next to Rogar. And just kind of lean in quietly and say, "Can I tell you something?" It's more of a question.
Rogar.
Who are you telling?
Rogar?
But I'm sorry, guys. I'm really struggling. One more time.
Can I tell you something?
Yes, of course.
It's more of a
drinking a lot, apparently.
More of a question. What do you know of the elemental plane of air?
Out of character, do I know anything about elemental planes?
You have knowledge religion, I believe. And let me just have a look here. You do not have Arcana, though.
Elemental
you could
would fall under there, or
you could roll a religion check to see how much you might know from religious texts and so forth. 22. Okay, you know a fair bit. You know that the elemental plane of air is one of the various planes of existence outside of the physical realm that you currently live in. You know that the elemental plane of air is home to a wide variety of air-based creatures and critters, including air elementals, things like that. You are aware that air is typically associated with chaotic nature, and therefore you don't know a huge amount about it because you're obviously a more lawful character, so. But those are the things that you would know.
I feel like I can trust you. When I put that ring on, I went there to the plane of air elementals, and something tried to kill me.
what tried to kill you?
Something dark. I don't know what it was, but I just think you need to know in case it comes up.
Do you think it's going to follow you?
I don't think he knows where I'm at right now, as long as I don't wear the ring.
Well, I will definitely attempt to be prepared. More sober. Hopefully it doesn't get here too soon.
Was it the darkness? No. It was not the darkness. Okay. Right. So, after that, we'll say the night continues onwards. We get some sleep done. Everybody has their hit points topped up. Everyone is feeling better the next morning, except Rogar, who is probably horribly hungover at this stage.
Harbeck?
Harbeck is... You still feel alive and electric.
Okay.
You're excited. You're amped. You have so much to do. You are sleep deprived, so a little scatterbrained, but...
But I just invented Red Bull, I think.
It didn't give you wings, Llama. When you create something that gives you wings,
I'll
then...
keep working on it.
I'm pretty sure that that's not a level +2 artificer ability.
Wings?
Probably not.
Wings.
Wings? Can I be a real dragon?
One day. One day.
One day. One day. Okay, and each of you awake, and you awake to a very loud knocking and a shout coming from outside the door. And you hear, City Watch, open up!
Uh-oh. Am I still downstairs?
You are downstairs in the cellar,
Okay.
yes.
Yep.
So this is like up in our room that the 3 people that actually went to bed are getting.
All of you will be hearing it.
Oh, so it's like at the door of the inn?
At the door of the inn, yes.
Okay. I immediately jump off the little stool where I have been dozing and scramble like under a table and into the back of the brewery behind some barrels and just disappear.
I'm just going to open the door.
Okay.
I will
Okay, so-
consider trying to disappear. And then figure it's probably not going to work.
I'm going to disguise myself as some generic traveler.
Good morning.
So Din opens the door and says, Good morning. Hang on 2 seconds, I'm just going to move some things. Because I am bad at Roll20, apparently. Well,
So, Harbeck, you hear Brieg in the corner, like whispering furiously from his hiding spot to Bink, saying, "Is it possible that they're here for us? Is it possible that they found us? Did they track us down? Is it the elves?"
I better go see if it's the elves. Brig, you stay here. Stay hidden. I put a barrel in front of him. I'll go check for elves. I make my
Okay.
way upstairs and kind of keep behind the bar and look busy like I work here.
Alright, so is everybody roughly in the room where they would be after they came downstairs after hearing the knock?
For some reason, like the bottom left corner of the map is just white on my screen. I don't know why. So I don't know what's down where my character is.
Oh, weird.
That's really weird.
Yeah, right?
It shouldn't-
Maybe I'll just try.
It shouldn't be.
You're in a room
I'll just
that
try,
may or may not be the brewery.
That
Okay.
is the basement, yeah.
There you
Oh,
go.
great. Then that's right. I'm going to reload my Roll20 and see if that helps.
Okay. So everybody, you're comfortable with your positioning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And Din's opened the door. Alright. So, the guards storm in. Like so. And say, We're looking for the juggler. Where is he?
He was here last night, but I haven't seen him since then.
Anybody else going to say anything?
I'll act as bartendery as I can. Like, just gonna pretend I own the place. And wander over authoritatively. What need have you of one of my guests?
He's... Well, I'm trying to think of the word. We have a warrant for his arrest.
May I see it?
Of course, and he presents a piece of paper. It's a very formal, official-looking document.
All the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
As far as you can tell, yeah.
Does it
Remember, you're not
offer a
native to this.
reason for the arrest?
Practice of banned sciences.
I try very hard to hide my glee. And I tell them, well, I wish I could help you. He was here last night, but he didn't stay. He entertained my guests, he bought them all a round of drinks, and then he left into the night.
Isn't that what I said? Why doesn't anybody listen when I say things?
Din, folks like these like to have their stories repeated a few times to make sure that everyone tells them the same story.
Can you roll a persuasion check for me, please, Llama?
Yeah.
So if I'd said it 2 times, they would have liked it better.
They like it from different sources. They like to hear it from several people so that they can piece together the differences and the similarities.
So Brig would only have had to have told them once. Different sources.
Yes, you've got the right of it.
All right, so the guard seems to buy your story. He says, nevertheless, we're going to have to search the place.
Certainly.
All of you. And he points at everybody in the room. He points you at... He tells you to get up against the wall behind the bar and stand there.
Do you require refreshments during your search? Perhaps breakfast?
Does your warrant give you ability to search me as well? I don't. Let me see that. Let me see that warrant.
Okay, he shows you the warrant.
I would like to use my forgery skill to see how it's composed to use it for future use.
Very, very, very clever. I like it. Roll a forgery check for me.
Are they elves while he's rolling his check?
They are not elves, they're all human.
Great. Then go tell Brig he can come out. He's in the brewery.
Okay.
As
Brig!
Din tries to leave,
Go.
as Din tries to leave and shouts Brig's name, the guards tell her to stop. Stop!
Oh, I apologise. I didn't mean to interfere with your search. I've got my assistant in the brewery. I was going to bring him up so you could search him as well.
Okay. Right, we'll retrieve him. And one of the guards stomps off.
Best, he's a bit flighty. It's going to be best if at least I go with you to retrieve him.
Yeah, this might. Let's hope that
a short while later,
instead
the captain of the guards tells you to stay right where you are. A short while later, the guardsman that walked into the brewery walks back out and says, "There's nobody in there." Are you sure? Yes, there's nobody in there. Dwarf, explain yourself.
Wait,
Let
did
me
you
go
find a
get
pile
him.
of mud with eyes?
Let
He
me.
is a bit flighty, and he knows where to hide.
Yeah. Let me explain. Harbeck has been up late as he is, of course, preparing his inn for the coming day. He's very tired. Maybe not quite all there. For all we know, his helper could be a rat that lives under a sack of wheat. And I will deceive them.
Over 19, okay. Let's roll. What do you take me for? A fool?
No, but
Dwarf.
sometime...
Come with me. And the captain of the guard stomps into that room,
Gladly. Brig,
and you're in tow.
you can come out. They're looking for the juggler from last night. They're not looking for you.
Brig peeks out from out of his hiding spot. Are you sure?
I'm certain. That,
Oh crap! They're here.
yeah, he needs to ask you a few
ducks
questions
back
about the
in my
juggler.
side.
They're just trying to get a story.
All right. I'll crawl out of my hiding spot.
Okay. The guards take you all out into this room here. Get you to line up against the wall. Where is Tabern? Tabern.
I'm at one of the tables.
Ah, right, there you are. They get you to line up against this wall as well. Okay. And they're going to do a search of the entire inn.
I protest when they go into the brewery. I've got sensitive equipment.
You'll stay right where you are.
Can I... Look, I will help you with your search. I will not touch anything. I just want to direct you around my equipment so that it doesn't get damaged.
We'll look where we want to look.
I understand that, and you may look where you want to look. If you need to move my more sensitive tools, I want to instruct you in moving them properly.
Giggity.
You hear a crash coming from the brewery.
I don't like this.
I storm into the brewery.
No, you don't. You're being held at spear point against a wall. As you try and move, the guard gently pokes you with the spear. Gently
like
enough
this.
that it doesn't actually hurt you, but it reminds you that you probably shouldn't move.
Lad. In this town, when the guards break and destroy expensive equipment, how does that... Do you just do what you want? Is this one of those cities?
You're having this conversation with the guard, and the captain walks back out, stands behind his rank of guards, directly in front of you, reaches into your backpack, which he's dragged out of the brewery, and pulls out a small silver sphere. What's this, then?
What is
It
that?
looks to be a small silver sphere.
I don't like this.
You're very right, young lady. You're very right. What is it doing in your possession, dwarf?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Roll a deception check for me.
How do you know that bag's the dwarfs?
Because it's full of brewing
Yeah, there's
equipment and beer.
initials on it.
It was found in a brewery. Doesn't it make sense that a bag in a brewery would be full of brewing equipment,
How
regardless of who it
progressive is
belongs
this
to?
place? If I shout, that's racist, will they all back off?
Probably not. Probably not.
He did
Wait.
sort of claim the brewery as his own recently.
I don't like this.
Din isn't helping. Bree, you can roll a persuasion check, and yeah, sorry, Flick.
I was just gonna say to the captain, or to the captain and to Harbeck. Harbeck, it's okay. You can tell him that I asked you to hold that for me. It was a souvenir from the festival yesterday.
Okay, you can roll a persuasion check as well.
Deception?
Deception, yep.
And... Man, why can't I take the second one?
Excuse me. So, I'm supposed to believe this is just a trinket, a bauble from the fair. That's all this is?
Isn't it?
And if I drop it on the ground, what will happen then?
I don't know. Will it do something? Try it.
Well, it might break. That
Is
would
this
be-
science?
What, out of character, what sort of reaction would we get if it were to be caught by a floating spectral hand? Just with my own knowledge of being in the area.
Magic is still reasonably prevalent, particularly more in the long-lived races than the short-lived races like humans. But humans are still very much aware of magic and know it exists. They would probably recognize a spell effect like that.
However, so
No one expects the ferret.
no, but I can thieve from a distance with my mage hand. It's possible that I could sleight of hand when he drops the thing with my mage hand, so it just disappears instead of hitting the ground and breaking.
That
We-
sounds
we've-
like quite the DC.
Yeah, probably won't be easy, but I might try it when he drops it, just cause.
Well, you'll have to make up your mind what you guys are going to try and do now, because he lets the sphere just gently roll off his hand and fall
Okay.
towards the floor
I
while
act as
not breaking eye
fascinated as
contact.
possible. Like I am totally curious as to what's going to happen. I thought it was a trinket.
No, you just are, in fact, truly fascinated by what is going to happen.
That too.
So the
and I
idea
kind of
here,
need it to get into the place.
so the idea here is right, like as it would hit the ground and presumably shatter and do something crazy. Instead, it's just going to disappear.
Okay.
We're gonna. Oh man,
That's
that
pretty
was
good.
not great.
It's pretty good.
Well, yeah, except I'm really good at sleight of hand, so that was a not great roll.
It's like a 10 or something?
It's an 8.
An 8. There you go.
But yeah, so we're just gonna try to like mage hand, just disappears when he thinks it's about to break.
Okay, you do manage to grasp the globe and try and whisk it away towards you, unseen, but the guard says... the guards notice. It's quite clear that the guards notice, and or particularly the guard captain notices. And he says, "Boys, get him!" And
Get him.
the first round of combat starts.
Was not the
Roll it.
reaction I expected.
Let's have a 3-minute cliffhanger. While we take our hourly break, we'll come back and do a recap on the events so far tonight, and then this will be our break for the YouTube video also.